Okay, hi Tribe Forex traders. It is October 21st, 2014, and this is the live trade room. We're going to get this thing going here. This is actually a perfect time. You can see the markets moved up to our areas of support and resistance, and we're going to continue to look for opportunities. The one that I'm going to be using today is going to be the auto rev. So let's kind of look at what's going on in the markets here. And really look at our trade calls. So as of today, we've called a couple of trades. We've actually got four. We've got the euro dollar at sell at 128.20, pound dollar sell at 162.15, dollar yen sell at 107.11, and New Zealand sell at 0.8005. So that's what we're looking for. So this is how we're going to set it up. So you're going to have your auto rev, it's euro dollar, 128.20. We're kind of at those levels right now, so we're going to set that up. 128.20 puts us right here. I'm going to hit the auto sell button. And so now my auto rev is looking for reversal candles in that range. The pound dollar, we are looking for 62.15, I believe. So I go down to the lower time frame. I'll be looking for it there. We're not quite there. We've actually got our pods on there. So I'm not going to touch that. I'm going to get rid of that. Great. So I just simply put it on. And this is how easy and how quickly we can set up our trades. All right, so I'm going to put that at 162.15, which is at the top here. Hit an auto sell. That's the pound dollar. The dollar yen, we also had one. Okay, so we kind of missed that one. We had the direction completely right. We know exactly where the market was going. But what does it do? It's actually, it didn't quite hit our mark for an entry. Came close, but not quite. Okay. So let's look at the hourly. So when the market turned over, it went to a high of 106.90, 106.99, so 10700. We had it set for 107.11, so we came close. We could have had a big win here, but didn't quite get it. No enchilada. So 107.11 was our entry, and you can see how quickly we can set these up. And I think the New Zealand was the last one. We set that one up, and that one's already kind of moved out, already moved in the direction that we wanted it to. We're looking for 80.05, so we got a triple threat. You can see that price moved up to 80.30 and came down. So if you got our auto bias is already taken a trade. It's already in that trade. All right, so when you set up the auto rev, you can see that it's got the sell trigger. It's good to go here. This is kind of longer than we like to see it, to be honest with you. This is a lot longer. It's 35 pips. Here we're going to have to look for it to get all the way down to 0.7962. If it does break the low. So it's setting up. We've got these different setups here. So the ones that we're still keen for would be the euro dollar. If it comes down, it gives us something. The pound dollar. The New Zealand dollar. Triple threat, which is lined up. Pound dollar is not even close to hitting its mark. Okay, so we got the euro dollar, which is right in the zone. We'll see if it triggers something for us. The New Zealand dollar, which is looking for a sell trigger right now. The pound dollar, which is not even close to the entry, which is at 1.6215. And the dollar yen, which is also very far away from our entry, right? So the New Zealand dollar actually just took. You can see my numbers here at the bottom. New Zealand dollar pretty much dropped, looked right to the entry. And it is really moving down, really, really sharply. That was nice to see. Take a look at our euro dollar. Euro dollar looks good. It's back down to 128.20. New Zealand dollar's in profit here. How are you guys doing? Can you guys hear me, by the way? Awesome. Thank you. Awesome, William. I'm ready to do this too, man. Thank you. All right, so we've kind of hit our mark on the euro dollar and the New Zealand dollar here. And it's just a lot of movement here going on in New Zealand right now. It's bouncing around. Euro dollar looks like it may be setting up for, let's see, a 123.6, maybe a reversal candle. We'll see what happens. We've got 8 minutes left, so that's quite a bit of time before we know for certain what we'll get here. Now, one of the questions that we have, and one of the things that we like to do is we like to, let's see if I can actually get in here on my team viewer. It's going to give me an entry. All right, so I've got whoa. So I've got some trades on as far as my auto bias is concerned. I'm going to show you those. Looks like I set these up on the wrong charts. All right, so we're actually in several of those trades. I'm going to show you that. This is on a different platform. Okay. And what it does, it just sends out to our different accounts here. So you can see them here. New Zealand dollar got in at 0.8005. Euro dollar got in at 1.2820. And the pound, no, nothing on the pound dollar. And actually got in, believe it or not, on this Aussie dollar that we had gotten into previously. It's another trade that we had. And that's it. So those are auto bias trades. So let's go back to our setups here. All right, so we're waiting for it. New Zealand dollar is kind of just playing around in this range. We got 5 more minutes till the close. And the euro dollar here is just bouncing around. It's waiting for this close too. If it gets a close, then we may get an entry here on the euro dollar. Guys, all this stuff is pretty much automated. So the only thing that we can do is we can ask questions. This is your opportunity to get ask as many questions as you want to, and really get any of your questions answered. So one of the things I think I wanted to do here, one of the things I wanted to accomplish, there are two things I really wanted to accomplish: show you how easy it is to set this thing up, and also to show you, just how we make profits, that this is real and it's something that you're absolutely able to accomplish for yourself. So those are things that needed to be done. So there's a lot of, I don't want to call them shysters, but there are a lot of there's a lot of products out there that just don't work. And so one of the things that we try to do is so there are a lot of people who are jaded, and we try to get rid of that whole scenario and the whole jaded mentality here. Now, every day is not going to be a winner, right? But so far we've managed to pull out over the last 9 months, just month after month of winners. So we would like to continue on in that and show you guys, and that's why we do this, because everything's automated. We don't have to do this session. This session is for you to get any questions that you have answered. It's the main purpose of this. As you can see how easy it was for us to take that New Zealand trade. So that was one thing. I want you guys to get over the stigma around Forex trading, number one, and get rid of the doubts of whether you can actually do it for yourself. You can absolutely do it. And number two is I want to show you how easy it is and how quickly you can set up your own trades for yourself. That's it. I think I've accomplished that here. So you saw how quickly we set up those trades. Literally, I say 5 to 10 minutes, but really it's about 1 minute that you get these trades set up and you're ready to go. You saw that. We set up the euro dollar that quickly, set up the New Zealand dollar, set up the pound dollar, and the dollar yen. So we're ready to go as far as those currency pairs are concerned. So I'm going to kind of draw in on this chart. Our Bollinger Bands. Our moving averages. The 50, the 200, the 800. So one of the things that we do here, for instance, on the auto rev, is that we use low leverage, or we use about 1% risk on the auto rev. And the reason why we use 1% risk on the auto rev is because it, you may have to take 1 or 2 trades. So, it can be 0.5 to 1% that you'll be risking on those trades. So anyway, look, we just finished the 15-minute just closed. We're right on our 128 to 128.20 area, which is a pod, obviously. You can see that the market just stopped right there on this pod. And we're right on the Bollinger as well. And it kind of gave us a reversal candle. This is not the kind of reversal candle I like to see. You know, I like it to be a lot prettier than this, but you know, I'll take it. So as you can see, the auto rev automatically put a reversal candle indicator above it. So this is going to be a sell reversal is what it's looking for. And it's got the sell trigger line. So if price passes this line, then we'll get into a sell. Okay? And so we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. But this was a really great time for us to get into the market. Yeah, Mike, I'm going to have to figure that out. You can go down to the 15 and try it again. So if you're getting a zero divide on the auto bias, just, you know, switch time frames, do it again. So if you've got it at the right area, not sure exactly what that is. It's probably, you know, there's something obviously in the coding that I've got to look at again. Generally, we haven't had that problem in the past, but in this last iteration, I've been getting that error. I'm working on it. You know what? Let me turn this off before I start messing around with it. I got to remind myself, just like I try to tell you guys, when whatever you do your analysis on, do not do your actual trading on. Okay. So you see this reversal candle. I almost went ahead and drew a line here to see what was going on the dollar yen. See if it was going to turn around, and very much, you know, very well may, but this was not the place to do that. Okay, so that's the line I wanted to draw, but if I drew this line, then the auto rev would have picked it up, or it will pick it up once this bar closes. So I had to turn off the auto rev. You see how I clicked it off? It's kind of above this. So if we see like this, the market react at this area and look for a sell there. Thanks, William. So we're kind of hovering around this pot at 106.42. So let me add that. Actually, since we have the auto rev turned off. Yep, sure enough, 106.42. We're right in that range, so it's going to be interesting to see how it reacts. It's going to use it as an area of support or an area of resistance, and that's going to tell us a lot about where this market is going. We don't want to see it pass the low here, which is at 106.23. You can actually save yourself some pips when you see how the market begins to react to these areas. But you can see that they are pods. Clearly, you can see how the market just stopped at this area. I mean, really, it was motoring up here on this euro dollar, just really pushing up hard, and then it just stopped for no reason. Well, it stopped for a reason. It was the pod that was there. Now, the question is going to be, did we pick the right direction as far as the bias is concerned? Is it a buy bias or a sell bias? That is the essential question that we try to answer when we do our analysis of the market. For obvious reasons, we did choose a sell. We've been in a downtrend for quite some time, so when you find a pod, the best thing to do is to look for that potential sell. Now, if price passes that area, we do have a Fibonacci to look to. It's a bit up. It's at 128.50. So if the market continues up, it may go to 128.50, and we may have to switch gears and look for a sell in that vicinity. But right now it's just holding, and it is literally at a point of decision, because that's what it is. That's what a pod is. It's a point of decision. It's going to have to make a decision at that area, whether it's going to buy or it's going to sell, whether it's going to continue to move up or it's going to turn around. And this 106.42 is also a pod here. You can see that market went down through it. The question is, will it use it as a area of support or an area of resistance? Okay, whether it's going to bounce off of it or move right back above it, and consider this area, this entire area, as an area of support. So we'll wait and see what happens. You can see that it bounced right off of the pod 3 strongest on the dollar yen here. So if you watch the video, I'm working on a couple of things for all of us here. If you watch the video for the last session, I am letting you know that I'm working on a couple of things. There are two more, I said there was one more expert that I was working on for you, okay? One more piece of automation that I wanted to bring to the table. But I think it's actually going to be two more pieces of automation that I want to bring to the table. So, if any of you were with me before I did Try Forex, I did something that we call the Weekend Warrior. And the Weekend Warrior is basically the gap trade. So we trade the gaps on the multiple different pairs. So it'd be like, the euro dollar, the pound dollar, the Aussie dollar, the Aussie yen. The yen pairs were very good to us in the gap trading. I think I'm going to bring it back. Now this is kind of a broker specific thing, because some brokers have such great spreads, such huge spreads, and they don't open on time for this trade, for the gap trade. The gap trade has to be taken, at the market open at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So some brokers don't even open then. You can see how powerful that can be. For instance, on the pound dollar here, as we had this massive gap here, which was from 165.50 165.72, so about 23 pips. Doesn't sound like a lot, but man, if you look at this, it's huge. And then, being able to take that gap up and close that gap and see exactly what the areas to really take profit are, and where to place our stop loss, that was right there. And so that's what we used to do. We used to do a gap trade, and that was great. And so that was what we call the Weekend Warrior. You can see how well this turned out. This is about an 80% win ratio trade. Once again, 5.27 profit factor. You don't get these trades every day, but when they show up, they're pretty good trades to take, right? So I'm thinking about bringing that back to the tribe community, giving you guys a shot at that. Here's the last one as well. So this is the gap between 814 and 817 and 814 and 817, I think it is. And you can see what happens. The market kind of moves up, meanders, but finally closes the gap down here. And actually, this one continues downward. So, this is one of the gap trades that we used to take all the time. I'm looking forward to bringing that back. Okay, euro dollar auto wrap. Thank you, William. Just triggered. Euro dollar just triggered. I gotta find the actual trade. New Zealand's coming back. I think the euro was so much smaller than expected that our that we triggered actually one of the positions here. Must be 10.5, which is the minimum stop loss here. 10.5 pips. Just about. You can see that it didn't even put in a take profit for us here. And it looks like it's because of the size of that first position. Was not able to get us into a second one. To check on that. Now what I like to see, to be honest with you, is I like to just see price just drop. Of course, who doesn't want to see that? And I like to see these reversal candles look like the classic reversal candles for us. Great. Glad to see that. All right, so we're going to watch for it, guys, and really this is just, it's an automated trade, so it's going to go on its own. There's not an awful lot that we have to do here. I got too many charts open here. Get rid of some of these. Oh, this one's beautiful, actually. Look at this euro dollar. It's like up against the 800 EMA, which is even better. That's even more beautiful. This is one of our pods on the 1 hour. And so that gives us a higher probability of success. Looks great on the 1 hour. It's one of the reasons we chose it. Nino, glad you could join us. And we're just going to watch this play out, but this is a really great area, guys, from a probability standpoint, and this is one of the reasons we use, proper money management. So what you'll notice is with all of our trades, we always use proper money management. Because even though we have a high probability of success, like look at this, we don't have any news that's coming out. Price could probably come up to 128.27, but look at this. There's just a tremendous amount of of support and resistance. The 800 EMA, the trend line that's right here. If I go down to a lower time frame, I'll see the 50. I'll see a lot of different things that are holding us here and really showing us that the market wants to could probably most likely drop. So it's a probability standpoint. But the thing about it is that we don't know what's going to happen at any given time in the markets. And so that's why you've got to use proper money management, always. And that's why we use balance, we use percent risk. That's what we prefer to use as opposed to lot size, because lot size you just can't be sure of what that's going to look like. Get rid of some of these charts that don't have anything to do with what we're doing right now. Got the AutoCAD, look at that, turned right on a area of support and resistance. The Aussie CAD, I bet you there's a pod there somewhere. Sure enough, look at that pod 2 stronger right above it on the Aussie CAD. And it turned right there. The Bollinger Band, the pod 2 stronger. You can get an idea of what that can look like. So regardless of the currency pair, we only look at the, we look at the majors for the most part. But I mean, these pods are phenomenal. They work on a lot of different currency pairs. Right now, we've got kind of a consolidation on the euro dollar. I'd prefer for it to just drop, to be honest with you. But we didn't get that this time around. A lot of times we get that. Here's another one. Here's the Aussie dollar on the 4-hour. You can see that trend line that goes right and really hits the nail on the head at the 88.05 area. You can see where it did. It just like hit that reversal candle right on that trend line I drew and dropped right off of it. Very nicely done here. And guys, the trick to this is not really the intellectual stuff. It's really just having the moxie and the gumption to just hang out and wait for it. Wait for it to really come together. There's a Euro Swiss. It's looking for a bounce, probably to the buy side. Euro Swiss. Euro yen dropped right off of a pod, 1 stronger. Euro yen looks like it's looking for a bounce right here off of a Bollinger Band, mid band. This is a pod, a normal pod, not a strong pod, but just a pod, right? I mean, I can show you these all day. The system itself makes a tremendous amount of sense. It's powerful, and if you guys get this and stick around long enough, you're going to get something that will absolutely change your life. It's a different ball game when it all makes sense. Whether you get it all together and you get it right or not, it just all makes sense. That's a real gift that I can give, where it doesn't just it's not wacky anymore, where you have some sense of control. All right, so we're just kind of playing around here, and it's kind of hovering here. And let's see. That's the auto bias. Now this is an old auto bias. Actually, if you look at this 4 hour as well on the euro dollar, which I'm going to make bigger, as Nino just pointed out, I don't know so much. This one's not so clear cut for me on this time frame. So when we do these trades and we get into them, I really like to close them out for profit. This one's kind of moving slower. But we'll see if the market gives us something to play with. We're kind of moving into a consolidation here, guys, and on these currency pairs. And so it's probably going to look a little something like this if the market continues to do what it's doing. We'd have a big sell bar here, and we'd see price probably come down to about 127.50 from where we are right now. We'll just have to wait and see if that's what the market wants to do. It's at a pod right now, so it's going to have to make a decision. And you see how it's just hanging out, not really doing an awful lot. Right? But it came here, like it moved powerfully up. Then all of a sudden you see it just kind of hang out. Because it's got to make a decision. The market needs to make a decision at these points. 0.8005. And for us it was 128.15. The overall bias over the long term has been to the sell side, or the medium term, I should say. So I think we've at least used what seems to be what makes sense from a probability standpoint in making the decisions that we did as far as the bias is concerned. But what's interesting here is what you can get for yourself, and what if you pull this toward yourself, what you're going to get is that you have an idea. You can see the market reacting at these areas, and it truly empowers you in your trading career, right? Before you just didn't know what was happening, right? Now you know what's going on. It's a different ball game, isn't it? So whether today is a winner or a loser, it doesn't necessarily matter as much as it matters that, you know, the long-term game is going to be for long-term profitability. Do. Love, I got to tell you, right now what I would be doing is probably sleeping. Not that I don't enjoy this. I do enjoy the trading itself, but I love watching the profit. I love seeing how much profit we make in the market. I'm going to put a line down here so I can know where my profit point is. Kind of dancing with this one. Awesome. Let me take a look at that. William says that it looks like we're going to get a bounce off that pod. Sure enough, we did. Look at that. Beautiful bounce there. That was a great place to look for a buy. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but we're going to have to look at, I want to get a close above this trend line and above this pod, and that's going to make me feel a lot better about the overall direction of where this dollar yen is going to go. But you can see the method, and you can see the logic here and why this is so powerful. And the logic is that now you know why it's turning around, where it's turning in the market, and why it's doing exactly what it's doing. That's power. That's something that most people didn't have until I got my pod system, until I discovered it and really began to incorporate it. It really never became, it was never really, there's kind of a nebulous idea of what was going on in the market, no matter how many books I read. But with the pods, you really get the overall direction of the, you get what's going on. It makes sense now. It's just not random directional changes in the market. It's really that there's a pod there. There's something going on. So if you guys have any questions, now's the real time to ask those questions. Be right back, guys. Okay, guys, I'm back. All right, so we got not a lot of movement going on here. I was really hoping for a more, not necessarily violent movement, but certainly, I was looking for a good reaction here at this price point. Now, look, it's clear that this is a pod. This is an area where the market is going to make a decision, and it is making a decision now. Clearly, the decision is not clear. We don't have a ton of information in the market right now. We don't have any new information, and so that's why we're banking on a consolidation. We're expecting the market to fall back into its range, into its zone, unless there's some market maker activity here. Just because there's not anything going on, there's no new information that's going to shift the overall market sentiment, which has been for a stronger dollar against the euro specifically and against the other peers. So we've got a retracement in the market. We're close to that retracement zone. So now you're seeing this. You're seeing a consolidation just in between the zone. Not anything really happening. Zero going on here. Hey, Terrence, how are you? We got into a euro dollar sell. We got into a New Zealand dollar sell. And we're just waiting to see what market does. We got into the euro. The New Zealand call was at 0.8805. It gave us a sell at 0.80 at 0.7997, and the euro dollar got us in at 128.18. We had a trade at 128.15. That's all we've got, really. Just a lot of consolidation. So hopefully we'll see some movement going on here. If we don't see a lot of movement going on here, we're going to see it in the New York session, most likely. So I'm going to let this play for maybe another, 30 minutes or so, and then we'll make a decision as to, how we're going to deal with this. So if you've got trades on, don't worry about it. The auto rev, auto bias, they're going to take care of the trades for you. Let's just wait and see where this goes. I love it when when we can close out trades in the session, when we can hit our first take profit at least and let the rest of it run. So we'll see what happens there. The reality is that we don't have a ton of information. We just don't. So it's not like we're going to get a news announcement that's going to push this thing and accelerate wherever it was going to go for us. So we're just kind of vacillating in this in-between zone. But guys, look, here's what I want you to see. I want you to see the pods. I know, William, I know you see it. You can see that right at that area of support and resistance is where we see that movement in the market. You could actually see the mind of the market working, if you will. Okay? You see where it's happening. You can see that reversal candle that forms right there at the pod 3 strongest, and how it's bouncing between right at this pod 1 strong and really having to make a decision for itself. You can see what's happening in this zone, and you can see it. And that's where the market, the entire game changes for you. Okay? The blue circle with a 3 means your triple threat formation. I did some work, and I've already done a video for the triple threat 3. And I think it's in the FX Training Center. Looking FX Continuing Education Training. There's probably something there. You can see it here, Tribe Forex reversal candle and triple threat explained. There's something for you to look at there. Euro dollar just dropped. New Zealand looks good. It looks like it wants to go in this direction. We don't know yet. Just, this is just vacillation. Look at this. We're only, 22 bucks down on the euro. It must have dropped quite a bit. Yeah, dropped off that level. It's just not a lot of movement. I'm looking for a big drop here. So at the close of this bar is when I'm going to look at my 1 hour and see where we're at on my 1 hour. So I'm going to actually look at that at 2 o'clock, right at 2 o'clock, and that's going to give us a better idea of what's going on. All right, guys, so it's 2 o'clock Eastern time, and I'm actually going to look at the 1 hour and see where we're at on the 1 hour on this euro dollar. You can see where we're at here. And yeah, we got a reversal candle right there. That's a good sign. Look at that. And that kind of matches up on the 1 hour. So this is actually a very good sign. We've got a reversal candle. Looks like almost a triple threat formation here, but it's a reversal candle. And we have an 800 EMA, and we have a trend line above it. It just looks like a very good place for us to sell. Whatever the market does, it's going to do, but the probability is high that price will continue to move down. So I feel like we're, not what I feel like. What the market is showing us here is that we're in the right direction here. Now this New Zealand dollar just, it's doing its own thing. It seems to have pushed up. Here we do have a triple threat though formation here. And so if it drops down, we can see it, you can see it drop here and eventually and really move down strongly. It's just going to be about, guys, a matter of, where the market decides to go from here. So 0.8005 is where we made a decision here in the market, and we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. Okay. We're in positive territory on the euro dollar, though. That's good. It's a good start. There's just a lot of vacillation. You can see why, as much as I love to trade, and I've been doing this for so many years, I'm really glad to have automation, so I don't have to sit around and watch this thing play around, dilly-dally until it's ready to really move really powerfully in one direction or the other. You can see that it's doing the same thing on the dollar yen, just kind of vacillating. It's really a crapshoot at this point. We just have to wait and see where it's going to go. And then, really you're just going to wake up and you're going to see it move really powerfully in one direction or the other. And we've, of course, taken the what we believe to be the highest probability bias here. Highest probability bias would be to the sell side on the euro dollar strength, basically. Look at Forex calendar. There's nothing going on. We've got New Zealand. We've got a New Zealand announcement, which is why it just pushed up like it did. Okay. And that passed, I believe. Yep. Nothing going on there. Oh, I'm on the wrong day. There it goes. Yeah, it's pound dollar is what we've got. No red news until tonight. So another 16 hours we'll get red news on the Aussie dollar. Until then, we really don't have an awful lot. Trade balance on the Swiss, not really a lot going on there except for we've got a revision here on the previous release. So that could probably send the dollar Swiss moving in the right direction there. It's probably what we witnessed on the euro dollar for a bit. Let's take a look at the dollar Swiss, since we did have Swiss news, albeit not exciting. It wasn't exciting, that's for sure. So we've got a lot of resistance on all these peers right now. It just bodes well for a sell from a technical standpoint, and honestly from a fundamental standpoint as well. The market in a illiquid environment can do whatever it's going to do. You can have a couple players that come in and really move it for a stop hunt or that sort of thing, but there's not really any reason for why the market shouldn't continue to move down at this juncture, just where we are. So it's a probability thing, guys. Anything's possible, so always use proper money management. That's why we always use stops. We use percent risk on our trades. It just makes it a scenario where you can go to sleep at night, not really be worried. Because it's cumulative of all your trades. If you won 100 trades and trade 101, and you won 100 trades and you won those 100 trades without using a stop loss, and trade 101 went completely against you, you'd still be broke. You get what I mean? So It's really about using stop losses to protect yourself at all times. Protect yourself at all times. That's a boxing saying there. And it's the same thing. It goes very well in trading as well. Protect yourself at all times. So this is one of those trades, guys. We had a higher probability, if I can just be clear with you. This trade was much higher probability on the first bar and the second bar, right? And so if price really just dropped really well and we had a nice buffer there, it's really higher probability. Now when you have this vacillation, this congestion here on this time frame, it's really just, it's a crapshoot. It's like it can go in either direction at this point. You know, of course, with, you know, bearing in mind the context, there's a higher probability of price just selling off. Really, there's a higher probability of price going in our direction. Okay, but it's much higher probability when we get on those first couple bars and you see the market really move. So if you see it here at 120.15 in this last move here, up, nice sell. First two bars it sells off and moves down for what looks like, I don't know, you know, 20 pips or 30 pips or whatever it was. Here, first couple bars, it's kind of what you want to look for. Now, can you get the scenario where it just bounces around and then drops? Yes. We've seen that a lot as well, but I prefer to get them quick. Like this right here, this is another scenario where it just kind of played around, and then finally dropped. Took us a long time to get there, though. This was another one. Played around for like 6 or 7 bars and then dropped right off the Bollinger Band. So the overall direction is a sell, and so at the pods, you're more likely to see the sells work out, at least a 1-to-1 ratio, no matter what the market's doing. And that's what we're seeing over and over again. And so that's what we're going to wait for here. We're just going to let it play out. And you can see how it's just bouncing around. I mean, we're going from positive territory to negative territory to positive territory again, negative territory. It's really a battle at this pod. And I think more than anything, if there's anything for us to take from this experience and what I can teach you and what I can really use as an opportunity here is an opportunity for you to really see how the pods really influence the market. Okay? So a pod really is a point of decision. It is not hype. It is not a gimmick. It's not something I came out with so that I could, you know, sell tickets, right? If you will. It's really it's a concept that really stands true. There's a place where the market has to make a decision. It's got to decide whether it's going to buy or sell, whether it's going to move up or move down, and whether it's going to break through this area or not. And the market is really at that place here, even at this odd number of, you know, 128.20. When I say odd, I mean just random. What seems random? It's not a random number. Okay, we can see the market move up here. Those of you who are in the auto bias, you're very safe right now in this trade. The auto rev is getting close though. It's about 5 pips away from its stop loss. Okay, so that closes us out here on the euro dollar. So that's a 1% hit there. New Zealand dollar still in the game. Did move up. And we'll maybe have another shot at it. You see how it's right at our trend line. And the thing to be wary of is that, what to keep in consideration is that the euro dollar, like we're right here at this trend line. We're really right there. So we very well may get another reversal candle off of this. Looks like it just made a push for the upside there. You can see that we're not even negative on our other calls here. All right, so we're not even close to our stop losses here. Still at the 800 on the 1 hour. Just kind of hanging out. We'll see what this euro dollar does, but our auto biases are fine. This is what I tell people to, if you're brand new, trade the auto bias. I mean, it's just so much easier. There's no stress, and if you're brand new to trading, you don't have control of your emotions, trade the auto bias. I mean, price can move up and down, and you're just fine. It's not a lot of, you got to get used to the ups and downs in the market and taking a loss and getting back in the game and that sort of thing. It's more of an emotional game than it is a intellectual game, to be honest with you. It really is. If you have someone like me who's really handing you the keys to the kingdom, it's really going to be about you managing your emotions so that you can actually execute and implement the entire strategy over the long haul. So a lot of people don't have the gumption to do what we do and to get back into a trade after taking a hit. It's reality. I want to turn that thing off. We'll just have to wait and see how that turns out. Let's see what happens in the next 15 minutes, and then I'm going to probably just shut this down because, I mean, many of you have been with us, were with us in our last session, so you got to see how that ran. So if you probably don't have a ton of questions, but if you have questions, now is the time to ask. Okay. The next time will be in the New York session. We'll be back at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to do what I usually would be doing if I weren't doing this, and that's taking a nap while my automation runs the trades for me. Okay? So we've got 15 minutes, and then we're going to shut this down until the next session of the day, which is going to be a it's going to be at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So roughly you know, 5.5 hours from when we end this session. So here's what to look. What's to look for as well. Right about 128.30 is where we had the previous highs, from which the market took a major sell-off. Okay, and of course, as you can see, this is the area of support and resistance that we're currently sitting at. It's going to be important to see if this M15 closes below this trend line right where the Bollinger Band is as well. So there's a lot of resistance here, a ton of resistance. If we do, then we'll get a nice small triple threat formation that we can maybe take to the bank. So we'll wait until 2:30, get into that one, and wait for another opportunity. Look, guys, when we have a 10 pip trade like that and it runs off for 100 pips, you'll more than make your money back. It's just the reality of it. Look at that. Right off the 128.30 handle, starts to move down. Surprise, surprise. Not really, I'm being sarcastic. Sure, I come off as a smart ass sometimes, and you know, I've been doing this for a long time. You can count on the fact that I know what I'm doing, that's for sure. How much is your, what's your lot size, Mike? What's your lot size? Lot size should be right there. Size. .01 lots. Yeah. Great. It's perfect, William. Yeah, that's bigger than it should be. Send me a screenshot. Who's your broker, by the way? Yeah, that should work. Shouldn't be an issue. By the way, guys, this also works with trend lines. So it will read this trend line as well, but you don't need it because it's going to read this 128.20 as well, to be honest with you, this line, because that's where we're still at in the markets. So we're 9 minutes away from the close of this bar for the auto rev. But you know, we'll just have to wait and see. Take this one off so I don't confuse myself. You see how it's just hanging out at this trend line? We won't really know where this is until it closes at 5 a.m., to be honest with you. Okay, just popped up here. You just have to wait till it closes at 2:30 to see where it's going to go. Got to get rid of those indicators. Really annoying. You guys, you can control it from the Tribe Forex pods. You can just make that false. And then it won't make all that noise anymore. It's great though if you're looking for, if you've got a trade, you know, you're looking for a trade, because I don't trade unless I'm at a pod, so it's not like I'm going to be trading in the middle of the market, you know, so I'm waiting for that alarm to go off, and when I hear that alarm, then I know that price is at least near where I want to be trading. So I don't waste my time not sitting around looking at a chart all day. Not my favorite thing to do. I've been looking at charts for years. It's got 10,000 hours logged at least between programming and trading over the last 10 years, which I guess isn't that much time if you really think about it. Probably more time than that, I imagine. So for those of you who didn't get the alert, I'm actually working on a trade for Sundays. So Sunday or Monday, the beginning of the market, the next week, where we will be doing like a gap trading session, that kind of thing. So I'll be working on that. Hopefully, it's just another one of those things I'm working on. I'm working on a fractal-based strategy, so we can take when we have a sell bias and the market doesn't hit our target but just continues to run down, we can make profit there. I'm working on a strategy for that, and I'm also working on a strategy for what I like to call the weekend warrior, which is the gap strategy for us in the United States. It's 7 o'clock. I'm sorry, it's Sundays. Sundays more or less at 5 p.m. actually, Eastern time. And so this is what it looks like. And actually kind of blew the dust off of this one because we had been using this trade for years, the weekend warrior. This is actually the pound dollar, what it looks like, and that's beautiful. And so we can incorporate that into our strategies. It's going to be a gap trading strategy, and you can see it the last few sessions how it has performed. Thank you. Did you send it to info or did you send it to Marcello at Tribe Forex? So I can have him send it to me or I can get it myself. Pound dollar is dropping quite nicely. Dropped about 14, 15 pips. Look at that. Looking for a little bit more act right, if you will, off my other currency pairs. Pound dollar, I was waiting for it to get to 62.15 is what we were looking for. And look at it, it's the actual one that's dropping. So that actually bodes well for the rest of our trades, perhaps. You want to see that euro dollar drop too. But it's really the pound dollar that looks like it's giving away. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. I'll take a look at it myself right now. And I want to see, when you guys send me screenshots, I need to see the whole terminal. I need to see the whole thing. Okay? So just don't send me the screen. Send me the whole terminal. I need to see the whole thing. Okay, Mike, can you hit, when you looked out at your terminal, do me a favor and hit Control, right click, and then check your comments. Okay, so it'll be like this. I'll right click and I'll make sure that my comments is checked. That'll help me a little bit. Euro dollars testing 138.30, 128.30. Wait for it, see what happens here. So we're at, I'm not really worried about the trade so much for the auto bias, guys. I'm just not. We've got so much resistance above it. It's just, I'm not worried about it on the euro dollar. So if it's not here, it's going to be about 120, between 128.30 and 128.45 in that vicinity. We'll see a turnaround, and we'll see it, we'll see it begin to move down. And that's just, that's a high probability of what's going to happen from here. So we'll watch that. We just have a tremendous amount of resistance on all of these pairs, to be honest with you, and we'll just have to watch for them and see where they go. I wanted to leave the London session with a win, or at least with the first take profit under the belt, and that's what we did last time and the time before. So we'll see what happens here. Yeah, Mike, you can, and wait for it. I mean, I think there's a good opportunity if we can see the euro dollar really drop and give us another opportunity at the reversal, right here in this vicinity. If we see like a what I call a railroad tracks formation, which is we have this big green bar that's moved up, we see a big red bar and it closes at or below the trend line here, which is at, my trend line's at 128.27, then you could very well see a very good opportunity for a sell and begin to see the market really move down. And that's, you know, that's what you'll probably be looking for as far as the auto rev is concerned. Now look, if you're brand new, I recommend you trade the auto bias. I've been saying that from the beginning, and the reason I say that is because auto bias is really good for the ego. It's really easy to manage. You know, you're not having to get back into trades, which is very tough for new tribe traders or new traders in general with a new strategy. It's just, you know, either you win or you don't, and then you can choose where you get out of the trade. So that's why we generally have new traders trade the auto bias. Now look, just because you doesn't mean that it's kind of like a veteran versus, you know, newbie type of move, because I personally like the auto bias, you know. So when I'm trading client accounts and I'm trading, you know, other accounts, I'm looking at, I like the auto bias for a lot of the trades because it's very, very smooth. It gets the job done, and I like it when it gets the job done. You know, it's all about the money at the end of the day. So what do I like the auto rev for? I like it when I know that this trade it looks good, and, you know, for instance, my discretionary moments like right now when we're trading, and, you know, I've got an auto bias trade on and it looks good and it's doing what it's supposed to do, but then we hit this pod area specifically, and I'm like, wow, this pod looks really good, and the market's really moving on the pod, and it gives me a beautiful reversal candle. I might just stick it in there and get another position in on my auto rev and really make some good profits for myself and whoever's following me as well. So it's kind of like what I like to do as well. So as far as this euro dollar, I think what it looks like is that the market's moving down, but, you know, we're far away from getting a actual sell, right? So we need to get that close of this bar in this position where we are currently for us to look and consider if this is a sell opportunity. But if there is, this would be a very good place to take a sell on the auto rev. So we'll wait. If it doesn't give us a reversal candle, it doesn't, and it's not time. So, I mean, this is not a bad place for you to take a auto sell here. You can see me, I've got one already set up here. But we're about 12 minutes or 11 minutes away from that. You'll notice that our New Zealand dollars come back in the range. I mean, it popped outside of it. Now look at it. It's just sold off, and I mean, we've just got so much going on. Now, we called it a sell at 0.8005, and so from there, we're at 0.7999, and you can see that the market is just kind of playing around, vacillating between these points. I hope that all my rambling gives you something, really gets you to see the number one, how we look at trades specifically. Number two, how to deal with a lost position, which we just had on the euro dollar on the first attempt, okay? And three, just really understanding how to relate to the pods and how it can really be a life-changing, career-changing experience. So I hope that's getting in from my communications really clear as far as that's concerned. All right, so let me take a look at that for you, Mike. All right, so we have the 1%, 0.17. It's FXCM. It's real. You're using the same live account that I am. It's live server. Everything's right. Yeah, it's probably right on point, actually, because only 8 pips away. It's right in the middle, and you were $17 down. So the it looks about right. How was it as far as how much did you end up on that trade? How much did you risk? Haven't had a problem on the risk calculation at all. No, I mean as far as a monetary standpoint, was the actual dollar amount? I mean, because I know how much what's in your account. I'm kind of going to wait for it and see if we get a shot at it. See where this M15 closes. 15-minute closes. Yes. How much did it close out with? Should have been around 40 or something like that. This is actually a really, if this closes right here, it's not a bad place because it's really cleared the market, where it just kind of hung out. Yeah, that's perfect, Mike. That's exactly what it should have done. That's exactly the amount that it should have done. So that's perfectly on point. And you can see that, yeah, because that's 1% of your account. You can really see that. What's beautiful about that is that you can see how with that kind of lot size, if it ran down for 100 pips, how much profit you could have made on your account. That's the benefit of taking an auto rev trade. I'm sticking around to see if we get an entry here on this auto rev, guys, so that we can follow up in the New York session. So I'm going to stick around for the next 5 minutes. Then I'm going to take a nap, come back, and we'll see where we're at. Yeah, you know what? That's FXD. That's FXCM. That's definitely FXCM. And they're looking at the actual lot size. And so they're probably right about that too. Because it is kind of a large lot size when you look at it. Now the risk that you have on the account, they're assuming that you're going for 100 pips in either direction, right? So they don't know that they have no clue that you're going for, for 10 pips or 15 pips. So that's a lot of risk for your trade. All right, so our New Zealand dollar is actually looking good. Yeah, so it's telling you prohibited FIFO because you're trying to get out of a trade now. You're trying to get out of one of the positions. You got to get out of the fixed position because that's taken first, okay? So if you have two positions, there's FIFO on it because in the United States, they regulate. You can't get out of your second position first, unfortunately. It's a real pain. So you got to get out of whatever position you got in first. So FIFO means first in, first out. So that means if we took the first position, the fixed TT first, the fixed TT trade first, then you've got to get out of that fixed TT first, and then you can get out of the trend position afterward. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's a real pain. I mean, it's better to be in Europe. How many Europeans do I have in the room right now? Great. Awesome. Well, you guys have the good life. Somehow we can't hedge. We can't take trades in the opposite direction. We've got to get the first in, first out, So the way that impacts us is this. So for me, for instance, since I've been calling a sell on the euro dollar since it was at 140.100. Okay, so price went to 140.100, and I would have just stayed in a sell the entire time all the way down. But if I ever wanted to take a buy on that euro, I couldn't take that buy. So if I had a long-term sell and then the market retraced, I could never take that retracement unless I'd have to get out of my sell position first to get into that buy, even if it was a short-term buy. That's something that we didn't have to deal with until just a couple of years ago. And now, that's the way it is. Now, if you're in Europe, you don't have to deal with those ridiculous scenarios and limitations in the market. Now, if you want a broker that's going to allow you to do that, they are underwritten by FXCM, which is good because FXCM is huge. It's ATC brokers. Now, they will let you hedge. They'll let you get into a trade in the opposite direction and that sort of thing, short term. And so something to think about. Not a bad broker, actually. I've had lots of conversations with the owner, and he's a really great guy. Over the years, I've noticed that his integrity has not been shaken at all, even in this market. So something to think about. If you're a U.S. guy, you can get around it. Okay, FX Choice also, William says. That's great. I'll check on that. Thank you. Yeah, I've never traded with FX Choice. I've traded with quite a few of them over the years, and I have kissed some frogs, believe me. I got a good sum of money taken away from the PFG Best. PFG Best was a really great broker, and they ended up going belly up. So I like to stick with the bigger guys like FXCM, or anyone who uses FXCM is underwritten by them. It's always good. They went belly up. They were supposed to be capitalized with I think it was over $200 million, and they had like $5 million in their accounts. It's crazy. That's the reality of those smaller companies. No, I don't. Look at their capitalization. I recommend guys look at their capitalization and look if they're regulated by the NFA and the CFTC. Those are the biggest things, and look how much they're capitalized. You're going to deal with a company that's got more than a couple $100 million in assets for sure, and they're required to keep X amount of dollars in their actual accounts. All right, so let's take a look at this. See how this euro dollar closed. Good, we got a sell trigger. We have a triple threat formation on this euro dollar. Oh, looks like we just got into it. Looks like I might have had three positions, two different auto rev accounts open. Yep, I did it. Don't do that. Don't do what I just did. I had two of them open at the same time. Looks like it's working out for me though right now. I'm gonna have to exit those. So you want to protect protection first, safety first, guys. So I'm gonna actually get out of one of these euro dollar trades, even though we're up in profit. Get out of looks like this one. It's a trend fixed position. Get out of that one. That way I have less risk on the trade. I don't want to be in a lot of risk. I don't think it's going to let me close out this trend. Might give me a FIFO issue. Yep. All right, I'm going to leave them open. All right, so let's look at it. We're in positive territory. That looks good. That's kind of what I was waiting for. Hopefully we'll get it to run down. You see this TP? That's what you're looking for. Stop loss above, TP below. I love automation. You know, you'd been fumbling around trying to get your stop loss, figure out what your stop loss was, where your take profit is, and trying to, you know, get in on this trade at the right areas, at the right levels, and you didn't have to worry about that. It just automatically did that. In fact, I wasn't even on the right chart to be able to take advantage of that. That's the way I like to trade. All right, guys, so I'm going to let this run, and we'll do a follow-up later on. I'm going to try to get some sleep before the New York session. I'll see you there. If you have the opportunity, you can be around for that. Come around and be around for that. You know, the automation is going to take care of it. Looks like it's got this thing completely under control. You know, the auto rev has this one, and the New Zealand obviously is just kind of jumping around. It actually dropped quite a bit. We're going to let it continue to run, and hopefully we'll hit our take profit here on the New Zealand and on the euro dollar. Okay. We've also got our auto biases that are open. It did. Did you see it? It totally, ours triggered live here. Did yours not trigger? Mike? All right. We got to figure out what's going on there, because you got the same exact machine that I have. You've got the same automation. So did you turn your auto sell back on and put the line? Was the line there? I also adjusted my line. Maybe that's the difference. That's why, like, occasionally, yeah, you just had to adjust it a little bit. And you know, I think that really the levels we used would have worked anyway. Let's see, 128.22, so it's close. Yeah, I adjusted this one clearly. But we did get another entry, so it makes me wonder, what did I get that other entry at? It means that that line should have been there for that. Well, yeah, because I had the trend line here. I added this trend line, so that's why that did. Adjusted it at 128.25. That's probably what made the difference here. Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it. And this is why I recommend, guys, you know, even if you're taking auto rev trades, you really want to be able to take auto bias trades just to back you up. Make sure that you get these trades and get in there. They're high probability. We've got, you know, we're 80 to 85% win ratio over the long haul. And so, you know, you just want to get in there and get some money out of these trades so you can keep on moving in the right direction, right? And then you're going to get used to these, you know, the things that we do, these the modus operandi for really running this, which is not difficult at all. This is my preferred way to trade. It's really stress-free for me. I don't have to even be here if I don't want to be here most of the time. You know, the auto bias is right there and already has us in those trades, and so we're good to go. We're not really worried about them. And then you can go in there and get really big profits taking the auto rev. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful move. Look at that. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous here on the New Zealand as well. All right, guys, as much as I enjoy hanging out with you, I've got to get some rest, which is why we have automation. Let it run, let it rip. You're going to have more questions from me as we go into the New York session. As you can see, our trades are doing well. All of a sudden, incredible how that works, right? And so we'll just come back and we'll take a look at them going into the New York session, okay? If you have any questions, hold them till then. I will be back. All the best. Bye-bye. Oh, look at the profit. It's coming together. Nice drops. I wanted to actually see this hit our first take profit, but hey, you know what? We'll take it as it is. We'll watch it run, and then I guess we'll talk about it in the New York session. See you then.